Hey trainers, today I'm going to continue my series on how to use specific Pokémon in Pokémon Champions to their full potential. And in this video, we are going to take a look at our first Mega Floette. This video is specific for the doubles format and will cover which moves you should run, the abilities you should consider, which nature you should choose and how you should distribute your stat points, which teammates work best with Mega Floette, and I'll also provide you with a battle-ready team that got me into Champions tier, so make sure to stick around for that. Alright, let's get started. Floette has a bunch of forms, but the only one that is capable of Mega Evolution is the highly exclusive Eternal Flower, obtainable in Pokémon Legends ZA. It's worth noting that this is the only Pokémon that cannot be obtained in the roster range. So if you don't have Pokémon Legends ZA, your best bet to obtain one is by using the global trading system in Pokémon Home. And I highly encourage you to try and get one, because Floette is so strong that it almost feels like a cheat code. Mega Floette, just like its base form, is a pure fairy type. This makes it weak to poison and steel, resistant to bug, dark, and fighting, immune to dragon, and neutral to all other types. Fairy types are renowned for being bulky and strong special attackers, and Mega Floette is no different. Its base special attack and special defense are nothing short of incredible. But what makes it stand out even more is its very respectable speed of 102, which makes it faster than a large portion of the format. Alright, let's take a look at which moves you should consider on Mega Floette. There are two moves that are mandatory on every Floette. The first one is Protect, which is used to shield Floette for the turn and give its partner the opportunity to threaten the opposition. If you do not run Protect, it becomes very easy for your opponent to target Floette with both of their Pokémon and deal major damage to it, and this is something you want to prevent at any cost, since Floette is a crucial piece of any team it finds itself in. The second move you should always run is Dazzling Gleam. Dazzling Gleam is far from the strongest move in Floette's arsenal, but it is decently strong, and most importantly, it is a spread move that targets both of the opponent's Pokémon. And this makes it more valuable than any other stab move Floette has access to. For the remaining two move slots, we've got 4 options to consider: Calm Mind, Moonblast, Draining Kiss, and Floette's signature move, Light of Ruin. There are a few ways you can go with this, and it all depends on the team that Floette finds itself in. If you're running an offensive team with Tailwind support and hard-hitting partners like Sneasler, Kingambit, and Basculegion, this would be Floette's best set. Moonblast is a strong and reliable stab move that can knock out a Pokémon in situations where Dazzling Gleam wouldn't. And Light of Ruin is a nuclear bomb that can pretty much knock out any Pokémon in one hit if they do not resist Fairy. But you have to be careful. Not only does it have a 10% chance to miss, it also deals a nasty amount of recoil damage and can usually not be used more than twice in any given match. If this is too risky for your taste, you can replace it with Calm Mind. This is especially good on teams that have strong fake-out support or some form of redirection, both of which can make it much easier for Floette to set up. But on hyper-offensive Tailwind structures, I highly recommend Light of Ruin, since it fits the fast-paced nature of these teams much better. The other option is Calm Mind plus Draining Kiss. This is a very powerful set on bulky teams that are built around keeping Floette alive and supporting it for as long as possible with Intimidate, Fake Out, and Redirection support, so that it can get off as many Calm Mind boosts as possible and become nearly unkillable. Draining Kiss is particularly deadly on these teams. Although it's a fairly weak move initially, it allows Floette to recover lots of health as it attacks after a few Calm Mind boosts, which makes it all the more difficult to remove. In terms of its ability, we can be very quick. Floette has 2 abilities in its base form: Symbiosis and Flower Veil. Neither are anything special, but Symbiosis is completely useless on a Mega, so you should always run Flower Veil, which will at least be a bit useful from time to time if Floette is paired with a Grass type. Upon Mega Evolving, Floette gains the ability Fairy Aura, and this is a major reason why this Pokémon is so ridiculously strong. You might have noticed that I didn't mention a single coverage move for Mega Floette's moveset. This is because Fairy Aura powers up all of Floette's Fairy-type moves by 33%, on top of the 50% stab boost it already receives as a Fairy type. Mega Floette hits so hard with its Fairy moves that it simply doesn't need any coverage, which is a good thing because it barely gets any in the first place. Alright, let's move on to natures and stat points. The most simple spread for offensive Mega Floette is maximum special attack and speed. A timid nature is fine and will allow Floette to speed tie Garchomp and outspeed Mega Charizard. And under Tailwind, Timid will also allow Floette to outspeed Jolly Excadrill under Sand. But all in all, a modest nature is preferred for the extra damage. Especially when running Light of Ruin, Modest ensures a one-hit knockout on a lot of Pokémon that Timid just misses out on. Having said that, Mega Floette is highly customizable, so let's go through some more options. This spread makes sure you outspeed Jolly Basculegion and survive Mega Gengar's Sludge Bomb. If you also want to survive Sneasler's Dire Claw, this is the spread you could run instead. 15 points in special attack makes sure Light of Ruin always knocks out Kingambit, and 11 points in speed allows Floette to outspeed Adamant Basculegion and Modest Venusaur. If you're using a bulky Draining Kiss Floette, its survivability is even more important, and in that case I'd run this spread, which allows you to survive Dire Claw from Sneasler, Iron Head from Excadrill and Kingambit, and if you set up Calm Mind, it even allows you to take 2 sun-boosted Weather Balls from Mega Charizard Y while still outspeeding Adamant Basculegion. There's one last piece of advice I'd like to give. If you find yourself struggling against Archaludon, and I wouldn't judge you if that were the case, that Pokemon is so annoying, Mega Floette is your best friend since it destroys the bridge with its stab moves. But you do want to make sure you outspeed it, and for that you need at least 16 points. I think that's every important benchmark I wanted to discuss, but if I'm missing something, feel free to comment down below. Okay, let's discuss teammates. There are 3 types that resist Mega Floette's stab moves. In the current meta, these are the most prominent Steel, Poison, and Fire types that resist Fairy. And on offensive builds, it is important to pair Mega Floette with teammates that can cover these Pokémon. Basculegion and Garchomp are by far the best options for this. Not only do they handle almost anything Mega Floette struggles with offensively, both Garchomp and Basculegion can directly switch into Fire and Poison type moves and cover Mega Floette defensively. Basculegion even resists Steel, and is therefore a perfect defensive switch for all of Floette's weaknesses. No offensive build with Mega Floette is complete without Tailwind, and the good thing is, all 3 prominent Tailwind setters are really good partners. If there's one thing Floette fears above anything else, it is Sneasler and its obnoxiously strong Dire Claw. Well, it just so happens that both Aerodactyl and Talonflame can knock Sneasler out with their flying type moves before it even gets the chance to do anything. Even if Sneasler is holding the Focus Sash, it will still get knocked out by dual Wing Beat. Offensively, Aerodactyl and Talonflame can cover the Fire and Steel types that can cause trouble for Floette. Whimsicott, on the other hand, does something completely different. It has access to Prankster Fake Tears, which harshly drops the target's special defense, making it nearly impossible for any Pokémon to survive Mega Floette's onslaught. Espathra can also do something very similar with Lumina Crash, and is another great way to keep Sneasler at bay, though it of course doesn't have access to Tailwind. What it does have is the ability to Baton Pass boosts from Calm Mind and its ability Speed Boost directly into Floette, which is just as powerful. On the other hand, if you're running Mega Floette on a bulky team, the most important thing is to cover its defensive weakness to Poison and Steel. Incineroar and Sinistcha are the perfect duo for this. They cover pretty much anything that can remotely threaten Floette and provide tons of additional support. Incineroar patches up Floette's defense very nicely with Intimidate and Parting Shot. Also, its access to Fake Out makes it very easy for Floette to set up Calm Mind. Similarly, Sinistcha also facilitates Calm Mind setup with Rage Powder. And it can also heal Floette with Hospitality and Life Dew, and even control speed interactions with Trick Room. And that's basically it. If you want to try Mega Floette out, here's an absolutely broken team that I've been using to climb all the way to Champion tier. Make sure to try it out and let me know what you think. If you'd like to see more of these videos, the best way to let me know is by leaving a like, so make sure to do that. And if you want me to cover a specific Pokemon or you still have some questions, my comment section is the place to let me know. That's all for today. Take care and see you in the next one.